Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kicks and Cup podcast, a podcast that unites checkered flags and offside flags. 13 points cleared at the top of the Premier League. Liverpool wins against Newcastle. 13 points, and Arsenal were only able to get a draw against Nottingham Forest. Of course, Arsenal do have a game in hand because of the gap at the top. Liverpool now need to win 7 out of their remaining 10 games to mathematically win the Premier League title. And I'm now starting to believe that we are going to win the Premier League. And as much as I just want to keep talking about Liverpool and how amazing we have been and how well Arne Slot has done this season, I have to talk about Arsenal because, of course, the copium has begun. The various ways in which Arsenal fans are calling Liverpool lucky, the various ways they are trying to say that Liverpool are in the position that they are, is because City and Arsenal have fallen off. It is so frustrating. So let's see. Let's talk about it. Now, as has been the case for the last 3 years, Arsenal fans start the season believing that they are going to win the league, almost bordering on some sort of entitlement that they deserve to win the league, that this is their season. And so began the 24-25 season. Jurgen Klopp's departure and Arne Slot's arrival meant that most pundits and fans assumed that Liverpool will struggle to even finish in the top four. And I can see it. I think historically, most teams have struggled when a big manager left the club. Some are still struggling with it. Big up to all the Manchester United fans there. But as the season progressed, Arne Slot proved with every single match that Liverpool played that he had found the best successor to carry on the work that Jurgen Klopp started. Arne Slot came in, tweaked the team's playing style, improved some of the players with virtually no business done in the summer or winter windows. Chiesa and Mamardashvili were the only players that Liverpool signed, and one of them does not even come until the next season, and the other one has made some cameos here and there for us. Salah is having an unreal season, and the team is just complete and balanced in terms of squad depth and talent and contribution. So the season began, and Arsenal drew to Brighton at home following a bogus red card showed to Declan Rice. Now, I will agree that the red card was stupid and should not have been given. But Arsenal had no plans to win a game when they get their cards. The only game that they have won when they got a red card was the Wolves game. And it was a red card that got reversed later, so Miles Lewis Kelly was not suspended or absent for the next games. Liverpool this year saw red in the Fulham game, almost won it, but we drew with them. But here is why I will not buy this red card thing as an excuse. Refereeing has generally been shit in the Premier League. We literally became a Formula One and football podcast following the bogus refereeing in the Liverpool Spurs game last year, where a perfectly valid goal by Luis Diaz was disallowed by VAR, and we went down to 9 men and conceded another goal in injury time. We had both Curtis Jones and Jota sent off in that game. But before that game, we had two more red cards. In the second game of the season last year, McAllister saw a red card against Bournemouth at home. We went on to win that game 3-1. And in the third game of the season, Van Dijk was sent off against Newcastle at St. James's Park in the first half. And we went on to win that game 2-1. By the seventh game of the season, we already had four red cards, and we had five wins, two draws, and one loss. And the loss was in the game where we went down to 9 men, and because of an unlucky deflection. And then next, Liverpool saw a red card was in the game against Arsenal at Emirates, which they won 3-1. So the red card argument, I do not get it. It happens. Arsenal fans can never watch any opponent and see or call out the fact that bad decisions are bad decisions and that they are not the only ones who are victims of it. They've talked about how lucky we have been to have played City and Newcastle without Haaland and Isak, respectively. They played us last year, and Salah was not there. Robertson did not start. Dominic Zoboslai was injured. Big deal. Like, injuries are part of the game. There will be games when some players will be missing. There will be times when full squads will be available. Last year, as of 25th March, we had only 5 players who had not missed a single match for Liverpool due to injuries. It was Adrian, Virgil van Dijk, Jarrell Kwanzaa, Harvey Elliott, and Luis Diaz. Van Dijk and Luis Diaz had misses due to different reasons, suspensions and such. But that is how bad Liverpool's injury crisis last year was. Now, I want to show you something. This. This is the list of all the players as of 25th March 2024, because that is the only article I could find. Here, that is the list of players that missed games last season for us due to injuries, and the ones with asterisks around their names were still injured on 25th March 2024 last season. And you can see it was Diogo Jota, our best striker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, our starting right back, Curtis Jones, Alisson, our best goalkeeper. So, like, I don't get it. Odegaard missed 12 games for Arsenal at the start of the season. Saka missed 3 for Arsenal and England both. The Odegaard and Saka injury overlap was 15 days, which included an international break. So spare me the excuses, okay? Arsenal have been so lucky to have enjoyed a fully fit squad for 2 seasons. What did you achieve then? Talking about your injuries derailing your season as if you were hoarding trophies before that in the previous 2 seasons. You know who did win a trophy last season with a big injury crisis? Liverpool. We won the Carabao Cup. Yes, you can all say, oh, Mickey Mouse Cup, no one cares. It is still one more trophy than what you got last season. We were in the title race until April of last season, even with an injury crisis and even with Salah leaving for AFCON. What other arguments are they throwing for Liverpool's title charge this year? Salah? If Salah was missing, we would not be where we are. Yes. And if you did not have Henry and Van Persie and Bergkamp, you might also not have won the titles you won. World-class players become world-class because of the performances they put in. We don't try to make an argument for Salah being one of the best just because, like Arsenal fans, you do with Saka. We say it because he's been contributing to our success 8 years now. 8 years. He has been having 15 plus goal season. I think 5 out of them being 20 plus goal seasons. That is why he's world class. As for his unavailability, his injury, he takes care of his body. He knows his limits. He knows what he needs to do to remain available. So does our manager and our staff. This year, any time a player has felt even a slight bit of discomfort, Arne Slot has taken them off. Rather than pushing on and making it work, he takes them off and treats it. Connor Bradley, Joe Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, Diogo Jota, Alisson Becker. These are all players that we have missed. They have been taken off the moment they felt anything in their bodies or legs or thighs, whatever. No questions asked. Arne Slot takes them off. And this is the reason we got Arne Slot, was because of his record of having player availability at Feyenoord. Add to it the fact that his style of play is very similar to Jurgen Klopp. He was the perfect replacement. Not only because the system fit, but we also made sure that the problems that hindered our success last year do not occur again, or even if they do, not to the extent that they did. And that is why we have enjoyed the success so far that we have. This squad was capable of achieving and winning trophies, but they couldn't because of injuries, and we made sure that going forward, we are going to address that. What is the result? We are top of the Premier League, 13 points clear. This is another one. Liverpool are lucky because there is no opposition. That is not our problem. That City are Rodri FC and Arsenal is Saka and Odegaard FC. Why is that our problem? We did not decide City and Arsenal will crumble without one or two players missing. Talking as if Manchester City had a lot of competition. Sure, Arsenal kept up with them 2 years until the end. So did we. At 97 and 93 points, still lost the league. When have Arsenal even crossed the 90-point mark? Because that is what it took to beat Manchester City. You finally won the league at 99 points, and you downplay that too. COVID title and all that. Look around this time, what it takes to beat Arsenal to a title. Don't be surprised that you lost the league when you were top of the table so long and eventually finished second in whatever the fuck season it was. Liverpool can only win when City are not dominant. City were a machine, as if Arsenal were the ones who stopped them. As if Arsenal have won a title when City were dominant. Arsenal's problem is that whenever City has fallen off, we have been the ones to capitalize on the chance. And if it wasn't for Liverpool, City would have won 7 in a row. So you're welcome, Manchester United. They would have done your three-peat in 1920 if it wasn't for us. So rather than downplaying the achievements of your rivals, maybe start questioning your own manager and board. There are still so many of you who give the benefit of doubt to Arteta. Oh, we have so many injuries, we have no attack. You have your defense and your midfield intact. Then why are you leaking goals? Aren't you supposed to have the best centre back pairing in the league? You have 3 less goals conceded this season than us, but look at your position in the table. What has Arteta won with the team that he has assembled? He won an FA Cup with Emery's team. And look at what Emery is doing with Aston Villa. And now all of a sudden with Liverpool's success, Arne Slot got a very good squad. It wasn't a good squad when you all predicted at the start of the season that Liverpool won't even get top 4. Arteta is a young manager. This is his first big job. Nobody asked you to get rid of Emery, a proven manager with pedigree, and get a rookie. And he's not a rookie anymore. He now has had 5 years of experience managing a team in the Premier League. Arne Slot also started his managerial career in 1920, by the way. They have similar experience. Arteta has more experience in the Premier League when he was an assistant manager. He was with Manchester City, with Pep Guardiola. Arne Slot inherited a good squad, and Arteta had 5 years to build the squad that he wanted. What are these excuses? Arteta has had enough time to come into a new club and build the team with the players he has wanted, and has not even had that. He's come to a team, a great team, after a big manager who led us to so much success and made us better, tweaked our games, improved our player performances. Arteta being a rookie is not an excuse. Injury crisis is not an excuse. This is why all football fans hate Arsenal fans. They big up their players, they start every season almost with an entitlement of winning the league, as if they are owed a title, and then paint themselves as victims of some horrible injustice when things do not go their way. This is what Erling Haaland actually meant when he said stay humble. Start questioning why you don't get over the line, why Ethan Nwaneri is taken off at halftime every other game for cramps, why you don't have enough depth, why your manager and board don't want to go for attacking players in transfer windows, why is your bench quality shit, why are your attacking players rejects from other clubs. When you saw why your manager thought Kai Havertz was going to be the answer to your attack when he saw what he's capable of an entire season. Why couldn't you get an attacking player on loan in the winter? Villa got it. City got Marmoush. What is your excuse? So if you don't want to give your rivals their flowers, fine. No one is dying for your validation. But stop constantly downplaying their achievements. Every single year you find something to cheer about. This year will be your win over Manchester City, 5-1. And when last year it really mattered, when last year you were in a title race with them, and it was crucial to make sure that you get all 3 points and City get none, you're happy with the draw. So, going forward, moan and cry all you want about how unfair the world has been to you. I couldn't care less. But please have some shame and stop downplaying what Liverpool are achieving, because you are okay putting up with the mediocrity of your squad and your manager. And just to rub it in your faces a bit more, I hope Tottenham wins the Europa League this year. Peace.